Shax is running out of options here, and the reads at back to back.
Senha again.
And that's
close to it. And the sweep, and that's going to be enough. RobTV.
And he did another Senha just to say, hey, I'm going to get 4 in this round.
Hello, and welcome back to my channel. It's BornFree here. If you're short on time, use the timestamps to get to the questions and topics that you're interested in. They are in the description and the pinned tweet. Also, there are podcast options in the description and in the pinned tweet. This is the longest interview I've ever done. It was with RobTV at Defend the North. I didn't have time to edit it before Evo. I felt bad about that. God knows what we talked about. He's a content creator and an interesting chap, so he must have had me captivated. It is long, really long. I'm going to try and cut it down in the edit, but we'll see what happens. It might just end up being really, really long. The other thing I want to let you know is that I did an interview with an incredible Japanese Street Fighter player at Evo. There were some interpretation issues, but it looks like it can be salvaged using subtitles. So that'll be ready when I get back from England in a couple of weeks. And there's another small interview I did for Stream Monsters, not FGC, totally FGC related. So look forward to that. Anyway, enjoy. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's BornFree here. I'm here with RobTV. How the hell are you?
I'm feeling good, bro. And what's up, everybody out there, all the BornFree viewers.
BornFree viewers.
Yeah, hopefully I don't piss anybody off too much. And if I do, hopefully it's interesting and controversial.
Yeah, that's what we want. Interesting conversation. So we're at Defend the North. It's Sunday. It's actually, this will probably be the last interview I do. Top 8 is going to start soon. You missed out on top 8, unfortunately.
I did. I ended up placing 13th overall at this tournament. But I'll tell you one thing though. I don't know if you guys seen yet. There's a great interview with. It's not an interview, just a talk that Punk and Problem X did. And one of the interesting. You guys can just check it out. But pretty much, there is a such thing as a bad win and a good loss. And today I've had good losses. One of the reasons that I've like leveled up pretty quickly in the FGC is because I never really tried to take shortcuts, so that, you know, there's some players who get crazy placements and stuff, right? Maybe for a year or so on and so forth, and then they fall off the face of the earth, you know, just with balance patches and things of that nature. So the way that I build myself up is in a way where when I am winning, it's consistently like the Nuckledus, Justin Wongs, and Punks, and Taquitos of the world. So today was a loss which hurt, but it actually didn't hurt too bad because I actually got a lot better from it. I picked up a lot, and I'm looking forward to Evo in 2 weeks.
Improvement. Yeah. That's what it's all about. Improvement. Yeah, seeing the positives. All right, so this is your first time in New York, is that right?
Yeah. I actually love it, bro.
So what have you seen any of it?
So I've actually walked around a decent amount, and, you know, like I've gone out with like Do and my guy Ramasama, just, you know, a couple of the homies, Zach in the Box. I haven't gone to Times Square yet. I'm thinking I might go tonight. But in general, like, actually, I was like so easily impressed. We're taking an Uber back here. Taking an Uber from LaGuardia to here, and I just see like Foot Lockers and stuff like Foot Locker. And,
yeah, me too.
But it's all outside, you know. But in most places in the country, you're only seeing stores like this within malls.
In malls, right?
Yeah. So it's actually very weird that there's like these huge stores just outside, you know. So as soon as I saw that stuff, like, so I'm right here in the Uber with Do and and then this dude, like, we had like a Dominican Uber driver, you know, who's lived in New York forever, and he was telling me about stuff, and I'm all impressed, pulling my phone out, recording, and dude was like, oh, we're definitely not hanging out this weekend. That's the first thing he says. He's like, we're definitely not hanging out this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, I basically spent most of my time after I went to university in London, then I lived in London, and then I lived in New York, so it's all the same to me. But when I get the opposite effect, so like when I go out somewhere and visit somebody in another part of America, and it's like I want to go to the shops, they're like, yeah, we got to drive to the mall, and I'm like, the what?
Yeah,
like, I drive to the fucking mall. I'm like, you guys.
I heard people don't use Walmart here.
Yeah, here?
Yeah. Is that a thing? You guys don't go to Walmart?
No.
There's not Walmart.
Dude, I had this conversation, I think I mentioned this to Sajam and Emily from like Equinox, but like basically like seeing a Walmart to me is like, I get super excited.
That's crazy.
Because there's nothing, because there's too much space in New York. Like that would cost
You guys
too much.
don't have Walmart.
So when I see a Walmart, when I travel out to the middle of nowhere for these tournaments that are like near airports or whatever, right? These big ass Walmarts and Targets. I'm like a kid in a candy store. I'm like, this place is incredible. Like everything under one roof, 1 million like checkout lines. And I always end up buying stupid shit like massive bags of like M&Ms that are like this big. You never see anything like it in your life. And then I sit there eating it and
the way I found out about it is because we're riding through Queens, and I see like people's like houses. I was shocked to see houses. I thought everyone lived in apartments in New York, you know. And then I've noticed how much traffic there is on regular streets.
Yes.
So I'm like, yo, I was telling the Uber driver, I was like, yo, like just going to Walmart here must be a fucking hassle. Like, can I swear?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, it's like just going to Walmart here must be a hassle. And he's like, oh, Walmart. I'm like, that's like our mecca, you know what I mean? But so New York is cool though. I enjoy it. Yeah. I wouldn't live here because of all the traffic, and I haven't seen any of the subway rats. Like my whole opinion would change if I went to a subway, like and seen the rats down there.
You wouldn't like the subways here. Subways are really bad. Like, compared to the UK guys will know. Subway in the UK is amazing, but it's also 4 times as expensive as New York's actually pretty cheap.
Yeah.
They complain about it here. Funnily enough, they complain about it a lot, but it's 4 times more expensive in the UK, but it's like, it's way cleaner, way nicer, well run. Here it's just, I think it's absolute garbage. It's whatever. Anyway, that's New York and the rest of America. Very different places. So Evo, let's talk about that real quick. So like going into Evo, right? So you're a player who's become sort of more well-known over the past year or so, right? You've done a bunch of different stuff. I mean, like you've done the content creation on YouTube. You've appeared in reality TV. You've been on Street Fighter League. You've been getting results in, CPT. Like, as you think about CPT and you think about Evo, like, where's your focus at? Like, we've got Evo coming up, right? Where's your focus at?
So, going back to that Problem X and Punk talk,
right?
I actually learned something interesting from that, and it made me rethink some things, like for if I could go back in time, how I might approach like a sponsorship situation. Yes. And that's why it applies to Evo. So they said something about pretty much how, there's one of the interesting things with CPT. The one tournament might be super stacked and difficult and have a lot of entrants.
Yeah.
Another tournament might have 15% of those entrants and not be close to as difficult, but the points are the same.
Yeah.
And it goes to make you think like, man, maybe when I'm negotiating my sponsorship deals, I should say, hey, let's forego this expensive premier event for now and go to 2 easier events, maybe outside of the country somewhere and things of that nature. So that's actually something that I think about that's really interesting. But the difference with Evo is it's a super premier event. So with all the points that are on the line, I mean, it's kind of like, I'm actually not as big of an Evo guy as a lot of people. I like Combo Breaker the best. That's my favorite event. I feel like at Evo, a lot of people are partying and stuff like that and enjoying themselves. Whereas I'm trying to, get my XSK Samurai on and be like in a full, meditating, getting casuals in the whole weekend, things of that nature. But going into Evo, I'm definitely feeling confident. I'm realistic about where my skill level is right now, and I'm at a high level. Like I'm easily one of the better players, one of the best players in the States, but still not in that like top 5 range and things of that nature, But I'm also aware, like one of the things I was talking about earlier with the whole like how you're winning and how you're playing. I'm also aware that at any tournament, you never know when you're gonna make that breakthrough. You know? Like you never know. Like even to the point where I'm at now, one thing people don't do is go back and look at old matches of themselves. So you can be hard on yourself, but then you look back and you're like, damn, a year ago I freaking sucked in comparison to where I am at right now, So, but eventually now it's just, if people are, a fan of me or whatever, or they may just look, oh yeah, that's RobTV. But I'm aware that I wasn't always at this point. So just like I wasn't always at this point, Punk and Dude weren't always where they're at right now. So maybe Evo's the spot where I make that breakthrough to the next level, to the top 1% level.
But do you go in thinking to yourself, I'm going to win this tournament, every tournament, or do you go to some tournaments going, okay, well, I'm on a progression, and this tournament I want to be top 64 or whatever. Like, well, that, you know, what's your mindset going into each tournament?
I've only done that one time as a defense mechanism. And that's what it was. That's what I realized. It was a defense mechanism. The whole, I want to at least place this.
Right.
You know, and it wasn't winning the tournament.
So normally you would say, I'm going to try and win this.
Oh yeah, 100%. That's what I do.
Like, I'm here, I'm going to try and win this.
I came to this confident. I came to Defend the North confident that I could win the tournament. I looked through my route through.
Right, rather than, and then I can understand the defense mechanism side of it because it's self-protection. It's like, okay, I think it would be good if I made like top 64, and then if you make it, it's like an achievement, and you won't, you know, maybe you won't feel so bad or whatever.
Right, but that's a whack mindset. That's like what happened. I was at Canada Cup last year, where it was one of the hardest tournaments of the year. 600 something entrants, and no, that's at the end of the year, near the end of the year. So people are really going hard for those points to get the Capcom Cup. And originally in that tournament, I was like, you know, I was dealing with a bit due to Street Fighter actually and results, even though I had been doing good at that time. But I told myself, like, okay, well, you know, I only need to do this. Like, you know, it's a process. But I was talking to my dad, and I was like, you know what? I was thinking of, like, the thing that we do here. Like, if I want to get all that joy from winning, I have to deal with the sadness of losing and wear my heart on my sleeve. So I decided I'm not going into this tournament thinking, oh, well, if I can at least get top 64 or any garbage like that, I'm going to win. And I ended up going and beating, you know, I don't like to list players, 'cause I hate when people like tweet like that, but I went on to beat a lot of my peers who are, you know, very strong and placed 13th overall. So that the mindset of going to actually win, I think is the best way to go about it. You know, my dad always told me, if you genuinely are shooting for an A on a test, then the lowest you should get is a B. You know, shoot for the stars, land on the cloud, same type of concept. So that's where I'm at mentally. I'm going in always. It's an interesting balance, but I'm going in always planning to win. But I'm also, like, you know, when it doesn't happen, even though it stings at first, I also have to keep a clear mind on a long-term progression.
So can I ask you, like, I do want to talk, I've been wanting to talk about this forever, right? And we'll just talk about it for a little bit, because I don't want to bring the interview down. But I do want to talk a little bit about mental health in regards to, like, because we were talking about this earlier a little bit, and I realized, like, you and I both think about it, and I got a friend who I often talk about, who I'll just call. He plays Street Fighter, but I'll just call him or text him, and I'll be like, hey, how are you? And he'll be like, well, you know, I ranked down yesterday, I'm not too good. And I'm like, well, I wasn't asking you about your fucking rank. And then, or it'll be like, oh, I'm fantastic. And I'll be like, really? You're like, yeah, I just ranked up to Ultra Diamond. And I'll be like, oh, here we go again. Like, why is your self-worth connected to your rank? Like, I get it. I get that you have to be obsessed. To be good, to be the best, you got to be obsessed, right? So have you experienced that either at home or in tournament? And how have you dealt with it? Because that might be helpful for people. Because people talk about getting angry. They talk about that all the time. They talk about salt. Everyone is happy to talk about that because that's a masculine thing, right? Fucking salt. But, like, what comes after the salt? Like, some people get really fucking depressed, man.
I actually I haven't dealt with salt in like years. I haven't gotten salty. I used to do the whole throw the controllers.
Oh, you did?
Oh, like in Street Fighter 4, like before anyone knew who I was, and I had never went to an offline tournament. I did the whole rage, throw the controller across the room. You know, that's it, stupid stuff. But as far as the mental health, man, I've dealt with serious depression over Street Fighter. And thankfully, you know, I'm not dealing with that at this moment. You know, I'm really happy to say. But what happens is, like, of course, for me, since it's not like tied to online rank. Like I could care less.
You're not an online guy anymore.
I'm not an online player. Yeah, I'm a tournament player. But even Daigo made an interesting point. I don't know if you guys, I'm sure you've heard of FGC translated by now. Mm-hmm. But Daigo made an interesting point that a lot of us players who play fighting games, we all have some type of or any of us who really try to go pro, we have some type of an ego. Because you have the audacity to even think that you can be the best player in the world. Like right now, I can genuinely tell you from the bottom of my heart, I am 100% confident, not 99%, that I'm going to be the best player in the world. Like about a lot of polygraph, I would pass it. But the fact that I can sit here and confidently tell you that, I don't care how many people watch this video, means that, I have to have some sort of an ego. And no matter how nice you think your favorite player is or whatever, they have that same ego. Michael Jordan needs it. LeBron James needs it, But because of that, when you don't get those results, when you put in all of that work and, what does our parents tell us or whatever, if you put your mind towards anything and so on and so forth. So when you really do follow the steps and grind X amount of hours.
Yeah, there's lots of data which says that if you actually have a specific goal, you will
You're
reach
going
it.
to, yeah.
Like if you don't have it, if it's not specific enough and you don't lay out the steps, then it's unlikely to happen.
Man, at NA finals last year, I think I placed 13th. God damn, 13th. Fucking NA finals, I got 13th here. Damn, I'm starting to hate that number now. I don't think about it. But I know there's some people watching this who will probably kill for that, for that placement and everything.
Yeah, of course.
But at NA finals, I remember I lost to IDOM. It was I lost to IDOM 2-1, and I ended up getting 13th, I believe. And I was like, I'm distraught. I actually went and I was like up in. There's like a bleacher area. I'm sitting up in the bleachers and I'm like just bust out into tears. Like seriously, head in my hands. And somebody, it was actually like a fan of mine, I believe, came up to me and talked to me and everything. They were telling me like, oh man, you can't quit, man. Like, you're an inspiration to me and so on and so forth. But in that moment, I began to question things. Like I actually went and I thought like, okay, is there some natural thing? Like, does God bless certain people to be naturally good at this or that? Like Magnus Carlsen, he's the best chess player in the world, but he's better than anyone ever was. And I'm like, man, maybe he was born for that, But I actually had a conversation with Taquito there, and he told me about his journey. It was at that very tournament. He told me about his journey, and he talked about how, he used to get smoked by Momochi and Daigo when he could never hope to beat them, and he played like a crazy mix-up style with Akuma and all that stuff, for sure out of 40, Vortex and all that. But he said he's not, like, there's a narrative that Taquito's a genius and he's officially been labeled a genius and things like that. But he clarified that he's never been labeled a genius, and he's actually had to grind 100% to get to the spot that he's at right now.
Yeah.
And he thinks that anybody can be the best player in the world. And from talking to him, it's one thing for a friend of yours or a girlfriend to tell you these things, but for someone who's actually in that position that you covet so much to communicate these things to you, it really helped me a lot.
Yeah.
And one thing that I would say for people to try to avoid these depressing situations and being so tied to your results, one, of course, as cliche as it may sound, there's more to life than that, than just your results. I mean, just the mere fact that you're even choosing to go out there and try to compete to that level says a lot. But yeah, one more thing that I wanted to add with that to try to help you guys to avoid the depression. Look back at your matches, not just your matches, but maybe whatever it is that you've done. I don't care even if your rise is slower than mine, faster or whatever. Like if you had 0 followers 2 years ago, and now your Twitch account or whatever has 100 followers. That's a huge increase right there, So for me, at some point, I remember the first time someone asked for a picture with me. I was freaking, dude, I was like, what? Like just huge, like surprise and everything. And you feel really good, like, man, you really touched somebody's life. Like that's nice. But eventually, just like anything, it gets normal. Like these sneakers, I have on, like, I don't know if you guys can see, I have like the black concrete, black cement 3s right now. And I first got these shoes, I'm like, yo, these are freaking amazing. Now they're sneakers. But the issue with that is, at some point, you get used to being whatever skill level you're at, whatever level of popularity, whatever events you've been a part of. But that keeps you from being as proud of yourself as you really should be. So look back. I don't care if you just started winning your local. Good, you've gotten better. So remind yourself that one, it's a journey. Daigo's a slow learner. I remember in Street Fighter 5, people were saying Daigo was washed up. Daigo. So, you know, and so I guess one way one thing I say to wrap that up, this guy, Gary Vaynerchuk, I'm heavy on self-help books, reading, things like that. But Gary Vaynerchuk, he said something along the lines of, if you have the audacity to want to do something that you love, which, you know, people like me and maybe you watching this, you love playing fighting games or esports, stuff like that. You're going to do something you love and make a living off of it. If you have the audacity to want that, then you should be willing to grind for it for all of your damn life. So that's pretty much where I'm at with it. And you have to know and be realistic that it can be a process. You know, it can take years, and everybody's road is different. So, yeah, that's that. But definitely, a lot of us, top players or popular players or whatever, do deal with a lot of depression from time to time.
Yeah, because it's an obsession. It's right at the center of your life, and it's very quantitative. Like, it's right there. It's like, well, I came 13th. Right? And I didn't want to come 13th. I wanted to come first. So like the numbers are right there. And that's why I think a lot of the Japanese players, the older Japanese players, often talk about this. Daigo actually talks about it a fair bit. It just, not all of it's been translated. Some of it was translated by Juna and is now being translated by FGC Translated. He did a seminar for a bunch of salarymen, basically, and he talked about like when he got depressed, when Ryu was nerfed, because nerfing a character is you know, to casual players it's like, oh, the character got nerfed, whatever. But to like professional players, it's like, whoa, my whole life just changed. You know, so it's I don't know the answers, but I do know that, you know, if there are ways to separate your self-worth from tournament results, for the online players, from ranked, from whatever, I don't know, you know, I think that would be helpful, whether it's meditation or something else, I don't know. But it's definitely something that we don't talk about. We talk about the salt, but we don't talk about what happens after the salt. Yeah. You know, and...
you know, what I think one of the things is with school, the way we come up through the school system, if I study hard for this test, I get an A. But it's not competition.
Yeah, right. There's not another guy who's going to get the A instead of you, right? Like they can only. That's the thing. There can only be one winner. So it's like a mindset. I think, you know, maybe some people don't suffer from this. Like maybe some people just get it. Maybe some people are just like, there has to be a winner. So like that guy won this time round. Next time round I'll get him. I don't know. Yeah. But you're right. It's like not everybody. You can all study for the test, but you can't all come first. Like one person has to come first. So it is what it is. Anyway, I thought it was kind of interesting to talk about. Let's get a little bit more into Street Fighter itself and talk about Karin, because Versus fighting happened earlier today, and we saw a Karin mirror match between Bonchan and Punk, and then more recently we saw Phenom has a Karin, a pretty good one by the looks of it. I think I saw a stat possibly from Logan, I can't remember, but it said the last 8 grand finals had Karin in them, something similar to that at least. Now you main this character, and you've been maining this character for a long time. Is she the strongest character in the game right now, by far?
No, she's not. She's not close to the strongest character in the game. All right. So before someone goes into this being a down play or something like that, Karin is the 4th or 5th best character in the game, and this is widely agreed upon by even players like Phenom, who switched to Karin. Phenom, if I'm remembering wrong from our conversation at CEO, I apologize. But I'm pretty sure most of us don't have her. I know most of us don't have her top 3. We have Akuma, Rashid, Ibuki in some order. Okay. And then Karin or Birdie. I would say Karin, personally. Okay. So but Karin is ridiculous. I mean, if you're top 5, you're ridiculous. I mean, obviously Karin is godlike. I actually asked, like, why are you guys switching to Karin if you are directly telling me that Akuma and Rashid and Ibuki are better than her? Like, why not pick Akuma if he's the best, or, you know? And what they tell me is that pretty much, even though Akuma is the best, they feel like his game plan is way more complex.
Yeah.
Where Karin is a straightforward character.
Is she like this season's Cammy? Because everyone picked up Cammy because they were like,
so.
They were like maybe a little bit more complex.
I would say she's more complex than Cammy was, but she's more she's Street Fighter. Right. If you're at that high level of play, you started. Not most of these guys, they were like Street Fighter fundamentals with punishing. You know, they think if this is a heads up fight, I'm the one that's going to win without the V trigger and the BS. And so people gravitate towards Karin because of that. That's one of the reasons. So now here's the hot take, and this is I'm 100% confident about this. Punk is an American player who has won damn near everything. I think that if, say, Takedo, who's amazing, when he's winning everything with Akuma, we didn't see a million Akumas pop up.
No,
we did not. Right?
No.
But why? Because, that's Takedo. Of course, he's just amazing. But then Punk wins with Karin, and it's, oh man, if he can do it, I must be able to do it.
Okay. I have a point of view on this too, actually. I think with Takedo, well, particularly in Street Fighter 4 with Takedo and Akuma, even though he wasn't as successful, Infiltration was, obviously, with Akuma, and then he switched. I always felt that is it's going back to what you said earlier. I actually think it's less about the players and more about the complexity. Because if you try to pick up Akuma and try to win a few games, your feeling for Akuma will probably be...
This come from a Akuma player, guys.
No, I'm saying, I'm saying, like, when I was Street Fighter...
how it goes?
Street Fighter 4 Akuma... Okay, Street Fighter...
I made Akuma Street Fighter 4. Oh, we met we didn't really know each other, but I remember talking to Dark Hato...
Yeah, Dark Hato Group. Right.
I made Akuma.
So, Akuma in Street Fighter 4, right? There was
Sweep, Vortex.
There was Vortex, and then they took the Vortex away. And then when they took the Vortex away is when Takedo decided that he was going to really learn footsies and stuff to another level, right? And that's what really, I think, made him the player that he is now. Now, the thing about Akuma, you can argue that it's easier in Street Fighter 5, but the thing about Akuma is his complexity means that it's going to take you a long time and a lot of losses before it starts to pay back. Yeah. Right? And I think the thing with Karin is what you've already said.
It's a simpler game plan. But this is the issue with that, though. You're right. You're 100% right. The issue is... You're looking at the best player on planet Earth right now. Punk, you suck. You actually suck. I don't want to give you too much credit, but he's the best player on Earth.
Yeah, he's amazing.
So he's literally, one thing people always sleep on is this Orange County Invitational tournament, the Goodwill tournament. Punk goes and he has to play against JB, Big Bird, and then Gachi-kun in grand finals, right? He picks, I don't remember the order, but Cammy, wins free. Picks Chun-Li, wins free. Goes to grand finals with Gachi-kun, picks Colleen, wins. With the reset.
I love the fact that he might actually be the best Colleen. That's one of my favorite facts.
Yeah. So
not facts, it's one of my favorite thoughts.
Yeah. So, but people just sweep that under, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so this is my thing. So if your goal, so Karin is simpler than Akuma, I fully agree. Yeah. I don't think she's simpler than Rashid, but
Yeah.
Karin's simpler than Akuma. But if your goal is to be the best in the world, the skill level required to be the best player in the world, to be as strong as Punk, whatever character you play, it's gonna take you a whole lot as a player to get to that level. Unless maybe they're just trying to get top 8s or place better than they're currently placing maybe. One thing I think people don't think about though, and I just don't hear coming up or whatever, and the reason I bring up Phenom is because the Karin players who are doing good it's Punk and Bonchan and Phenom
recently, yeah,
just very recently.
Yeah, recently.
He got second at
what was it?
Game Over.
Was it Game Over?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
and then just now he got top 8, which everybody's like, oh, he got 3. There's three Karens in top 8 of VS Fighting. Now, fact check me, I'm not sure, but at least what I was told was that he used multiple characters in that tournament. But since Karen's the hot topic right now, oh, he's a Karen player. But if Bison, I think he picked Bison once or something. If Bison was the hot topic, 3 Bisons in top 8. You know what I mean?
He's playing Bison now, Phenom?
Yeah, he actually been had a Bison a little while now, I believe. I think he. Like,
I know he used to, but I didn't realize he picked him up again.
Someone said he busted him out or
okay.
But yeah, so one thing people don't bring up when people focus so much on the character thing is just that, like, I'm assuming that Phenom stopped working with Nuckledu because he felt like he wasn't good enough or consistent enough, right? But then here comes Machabo.
Yeah, I know, right?
Machabo's. This is not a shot or nothing, Phenom. I'm just, But Machabo's killing it. I think he's like top 7 in CPT.
Wow.
But my thing is, when Machabo starts doing good like that, what do I hear? I'm at these events. Nuckledu's really stupid if you think about it. When he gets V-triggered, you cannot get credit. That's what I've come to. I don't give a damn who you are, how good you. Well, the best chance you have at getting credit is by being a player who's been. That's another thing, longevity. You better have been playing for 10 plus years in the public eye. Yeah. I think being from Japan is very helpful if you want to get some type of credit. But even then, Machabo's from there. But what do people do? Oh, well, if you think about it, Nuckledu, when he gets that beat, because the whole purpose of winning is to exploit your character's game plan and enforce your will. Yeah. So, if I win with Gao and I zone someone out and it takes all the skill in the world, it looks like Sonic Boom, Sonic Spam, Flash Kick, anti-air Spam. Yeah. So you can't get credit no matter what. But I think Machabo shows that when people focus so hard on characters, the mentality is off. Daigo said the reason he's still playing Gao this season, even though I don't even think Gao's top 10, is because that it gives him the opportunity to improve at Street Fighter 5. Because everybody's so focused on the short term, but the long-term grind is really, that's really where it's at. Like, so I think that, going back to Karin in general, I think she's a top 5 character, but with all of I think that the hate that she's receiving comes from, one, her being strong, but it's not just that, because whether it's casual players, whether it's pro players, almost no one has her even top 3 in the whole game. I think what it comes down to is you got this, cocky American dude who's much better than everybody else right now, and he's winning a whole lot of money, and people subconsciously, so I know you're gonna deny it and disagree, you're like, oh, I could do that too. He's not that good. That's how that goes.
Yeah, I mean that's what happens, right? The minute somebody wins, like there's usually I can always think of a reason. Like with Machabo, I could say, well, you know what? No one gets much practice against Nuckledus these days. Like I could say that. I could definitely say that. Like there's always like a reason why it's not the player.
Fang just Vega patched a Fang player from, I think he's from England, or I won't say he's from England. He's from Europe. Yeah. But he just beat Daigo at Combo Breaker. What do you think the Twitch chat was full of? Or the Twitter? Oh, he must not know the matchup. You can't win. So that's how that goes.
All right, so let's talk about Street Fighter League. Sorry, I'm can try and move quicker because we can talk forever, I reckon. But Street Fighter League, Team Gale, was it? Yep. It says you, Shine, and Nuckledu. Yep. I caught some of it, not all of it, because it was a lot. There was a lot. It had the character ban. There's going to be a season 2. There's kind of a lot to talk about. I don't really know where to start. I guess the first question is, how was the experience itself? Not just we were treated very well, but the actual competition. Did it feel like you were on a team?
Oh, 100%. I mean, of course we hang out with other people as well, people from other teams and stuff like that. But I mean, you do section off a bit. Like, it's a big community experience, But I mean, you got to meet up and talk strategy and things of that nature, and especially, when you're in a match, you don't feel like you're just playing. It doesn't feel like what Defender North just felt like for me. Just it's a completely different vibe, knowing I'm playing for. Other players, and they're hyping me up when I do well, or they're gonna give me advice in between the game and in between the rounds and things of that nature.
That's the bit I just want to jump in. That's the bit I'm most interested in.
That's
so is that real? Like will you be sitting there and will somebody come over and whisper in your ear, "Hey, he's doing this or he's doing that"?
100%. Yeah, that's what we do. Yeah, we all of us do that. That's one of the great things with our team, me, Sean, and Dude, we're actually friends with each other.
Okay.
So it really just, works out well. I think that's a big advantage, even being a returning team. You already got the chemistry,
Because it looks like it's benefiting, already benefiting. I can see the players as they're entering the tournaments, now.
We're better players. We're 100%. I mean, you gotta think. You just sit there. You're with these people for that long. Yeah. And there's a difference training with someone online and trying to talk through text and stuff like that to where versus my success is directly tied to your success. It's no holds barred. Like, why would I withhold anything? Like, let's work together, really try to give each other all the information that we possibly can. I can't express how much stronger I got in that process, man. Like, I mean, there are certain stuff where, like I said, I can't give out direct details, but just for example, certain times where, it gets this deep. Do this 3 times, and on the 4th time, this person's gonna do that. So be ready and do that. And literally that'll happen. Swear. So you learn so much, and of course there's different, perspectives from it. So and you get to know each other. So one of the funny things, there was always a joke with a certain skill of mine in fighting games, right? That I was lacking a lot during Street Fighter League. I got a lot better at it thanks to that. But and then I had this money match with JB, and I did really good at that certain skill. And of course, when we have money matches, we set the money down on the, for all the esports people, we never would money match. But I'm just making it hypothetical. But so when there's money on the table, I did good at it. So even in serious situations, my teammates will put $1 or something like that on the table when we play, because
they know it might face you.
Yeah, to replicate it, But nah, seriously, if you see us whispering each other's ears and stuff like that, there's definitely actual strategy, and there's times where maybe this player, that player would have lost, and then even now playing a regular tournament, there's certain situations where one of us may be at home watching the tournament and we'll message each other hey, this, that.
Oh, that's dope, man.
Yeah, seriously.
That's dope. So, Nuckledu is obviously the veteran there, even though he's super young.
Yeah.
Did you feel, were there things that Dude came up with where you were just whoa, didn't even think about it that way?
Yeah, no, definitely. Damn, do I really want to give Nuckledu credit?
You don't have to. You have to go into details, but I was just, I was intrigued. Nuckledu, I've seen him. A lot of people think I appeared on the scene 2 years ago, but I've been doing interviews for a while now, and I remember doing Street Fighter 4 and him coming up and all that stuff, and I know that he's strong. Very extremely strong player.
Yeah, he is.
But generally speaking, he's fairly quiet. So, I always wonder what it'd be like to hear from Nuckledu.
He's one of those people who are completely different than they would appear. One of the reasons I'm actually cool with Dude is because he doesn't do the whole he doesn't. I don't want to say he's not hanging out with everybody, right? He's not super.
He's not doing the Hollywood thing.
Yeah, right. Ironically, my tag and everything. But,
I know.
But so I'm not really into that either. I don't like to hang out in super huge groups and stuff like that, and so he's definitely more, I guess, closed off and Interior cool with him. So I guess it's interesting. He's an interesting dude. The reason it's weird is because I know he's gonna see this and he's gonna talk trash and always make jokes if I give him too much credit. So yeah, he's alright.
So he's alright.
Yeah.
He's alright. Nuckledu, you owe me an interview, just by the way, big time. So SFL. Obviously, the controversial thing was the banning of characters, right? To some people, other people were like, I don't care, I've got 2 characters. Like, Nuckledu's got some characters, Punk can play whatever, you've got more than 1 character. When you first heard about, like, the banning, did you feel like this is all wrong? Did you feel like, nah, you know what, like in this game you need more than 1 character? Like what did you feel?
I felt like for one, obviously I was immediately excited because I just play.
Because you play more than 1 character.
Yeah. So I'm commodity.
So from a personal perspective, immediately you were like,
right.
This is fine.
Yeah, but as a whole, the character ban to me is dope. Like, I think one issue that FGC has consistently is when something new happens, people treat it as if it's erasing all of the other stuff that already exists. Before Street Fighter League,
it's a good way of putting it.
Right?
Yeah.
Like before Street Fighter League existed, if you wanted to go to Defend the North or Combo Breaker or anything else, you could have went to it. Street Fighter League's existence did not make this not be here anymore. So just don't go to Street Fighter League. Just don't sign up for Street Fighter League. Just don't sign up for the E-League reality TV show if you don't want to be on reality TV. So why do we need to go on the internet and bash it instead of saying, hey, this is another cool thing in the FGC? But people can't be happy for someone else, you know what I mean? So that's where a lot of the hate comes from. But specifically, the character ban was extremely important to the success of the first season, and they should never do away with it because there's a lot of Samurai, one of the biggest stories. This dude was on Samurai Idom and Classico.
Right.
Samurai Idom we had the whole free Laura movement. Samurai is fighting against all odds and is OCVing teams, for the uninitiated 1 character victory. Yeah. He's bodying everyone. Yeah. That's hype. That's exciting. That's interesting. Yeah. And that's more important than just having a regular team tournament.
Just a Kid was another one.
Another one, yes, exactly. With Toy being banned. Even the strategy side of it. So like on our team, one of the issues we had is I play Guile, Du plays Guile. Yeah. You can't both use the same character in the same set. So that's the limitation right there. And if somebody bans Guile, they're banning both of our Guiles.
I didn't figure that out until like later 4 episodes in.
Shine played Jury the whole time, but Shine's actual secondary at that time was Karin.
Yeah.
But I'm a Karin main. Yeah. So at that point, so there's a whole lot of strategy that goes into it that makes it much more interesting and entertaining than if there was just a regular team tournament.
Yeah. So, team tournaments in general, do you think they are important?
Yeah, I think that they bring a completely different dynamic than just a regular. And of course, we all got here from singles tournaments. We love them, but. Yeah. I remember going back to Red Bull Proving Grounds. I think that might have been almost 2 years ago now. But that was when there were regional teams. So like we had Team Midwest, Team SoCal, Team NorCal, things of that nature. It was hype. And the team aspect, it just went, there's a different level of, like, I would say, like, pride behind it. The trash talk, of course, is always fun. The different personalities coming together. Like, for example, like you said, that dude was like a quiet guy. But with our personalities coming together, people get to see more of dude joking around and things of that nature. Or let's say on Toy's team, just a kid he's a pretty funny dude, but he may not be like super out there. But then all of a sudden you have him being more chill. Chakotay has his own vibe,
complimenting each other.
Yeah, and then Toy is rolling on the ground, popping off and all of that, you know. And one more thing I would say about the team aspect is one of the great things that they did is bringing back 2 teams. The top 2 teams, you know, which in this case was Team Inferno and us, Team Gil. Because instead of just having all new teams, it lets people build narratives and rivalries, and you know what I mean, like get used. That's actually very important, I'd say. Just like with people like to follow a team outside of just players. One of the issues I always say when it comes to sponsorship in the fighting game community is that with it being your single player sponsorship, if X big player leaves a team, all the fans go with that player. You know, whereas a team like Optic in the shooting games or Call of Duty and stuff, whoever joins and leaves, that's Optic. People are fans of Optic Gaming. So I think that's one of the dope things that team tournaments are doing in the FGC is you can be a fan of Team Gil as a collective. You know?
Yeah. All right. Well, let's move on from that. I want to ask you about this tweet that was going around recently, right? So, I mean, it's a tweet, but it's actually quite interesting, I think. I asked Justin the same question, and that was, there was a tweet which basically said, tag the people who taught you how to play fighting games, right? And for some people, they're self-taught, you know, so there's probably not a lot of tagging going on. But some people that
everybody likes to think they're self-taught.
Yeah, and then there's other people who have specific people who've helped them in some form or fashion. Did you respond to that tweet?
Yeah, so I tagged, so for one, I'm an interesting mix of, I guess it's like for everyone, being taught and self-taught, which I'll explain. But I tagged my guy FNEX Raven and Kaizen Master. So basically the way that went is, it was, for most part, it was Kaizen. And Street Fighter 4, the way I met Kaizen when I didn't even know that there were like Street Fighter Facebook groups. That's how early I was into it. Like it was an interesting experience. I'm in a ranked match using Ryu, and you know, I'm sure he beat me or something like that, you know. But he sent me a party invite. I did not know that people even talked in parties in Street Fighter like they did in Call of Duty and stuff, you know. And Street Fighter 4, there's something called a replay channel. You can watch someone's replays or whatever, and you can watch it with your friends. And I joined a party, I joined a replay channel, and the first thing he says is, I'm like, hello? And he's like, what would you like to learn? Like on some weird, like, I'm like, what the hell kind of dude is this? Like, what the hell are you talking about? And
he's a bit eccentric.
Yeah, and that guy ended up being, you know, for a good amount of time, a huge mentor to me. Yeah. And he actually, you know, we bumped heads a good amount. Like I said, he's really, you know, different. I was more hot-headed at that time and stuff too. But no, he actually taught me a lot, and he opened my eyes to a lot of bigger fighting game concepts that I wasn't even strong enough. I got better at that time, but I mean, I was still, by the time we stopped training, I was still whack, right? Like, but that's not a slight to him. My mindset was much better than the average players, which is one of the reasons I was able to even go and, you know, get stronger. So he never, like the way that he taught, the stuff that he taught me, it was never like maybe we would watch a video on like cooking or something that's seemingly unrelated to Street Fighter. And that's the way that I like to explain things and learn, you know, like a lot of philosophy and things of that nature. So that's pretty much, that's how my learning went with him, a lot of long conversations. And then my guy FNEX Raven, he came in and he more so taught me like the concrete footsies, spacing, you know.
Oh, he did? Okay.
Yes, that's the guy who taught me the more
direct. Was that in person? Or? No,
all of this is online.
Online, okay.
At this time, I mean, during the entirety of Street Fighter, this is all Street Fighter 4.
Street Fighter 4.
Yeah, and during the entirety of this, I never went to an offline tournament once before. Like, you know. So, but to give some clarity, so that they helped me out like tremendously. Like, I'm forever grateful to those guys, so I always shout them out. But even from there, like, come Street Fighter 5, I can't even win a local, you know what I mean? Like, I was very weak. So I leveled up tremendously from myself just grinding 100 damn hours a fucking week or whatever the hell, you know. There's videos of me there's a video of me fucking beating Wolfcrone. This is 2017. It's like near the end of 2017, and it was a huge deal. I'm popping off and going crazy and so on and so forth. And now, you know, there isn't a player in the world that I would beat and pop off and be unless the moment called for it. But I'm not that much of an underdog against anyone. I'm one of the stronger players now, you know. So I definitely had to grind a lot on my own. But I think it's always important to shout out the people who helped you along the way. And Cosm Master and Anthony X Raven definitely helped me tremendously.
Got it. And then when it came to like self-learning, how disciplined do you feel like you were or are? Did you have to teach yourself to be disciplined? I'm actually asking for myself because I'm not very disciplined at that sort of stuff. Like, I just want to jump into ranked, play ranked. That's just how I am. Yeah. And that's why I never get any better. And I know that about myself. Yeah. But I can't bring myself to, like, you know, I find it hard to do the discipline. I find it hard to, like, let's say practice neutral or in training mode or hit confirms or look up stuff, watch videos, like all the things that to me seem like I know for a fact, speaking to players, they're necessary.
Yeah, I was interested in going into like investment banking at one point in my life. Okay. Or consulting. I was in business school. I don't want to go too in depth into that though. But in general, the reason I bring that up is during that time, I am literally wearing a suit to class every day in college. You know, going and talking to professors, not even about anything to do with schoolwork. I'm reading books. I don't know why, but when I learn about, like when I'm interested in something, I get complete tunnel vision.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, but I didn't have to force myself to, all right, man, you gotta fight through it. Like going to the gym, like having to fight through that, you know how like for some people at first going to the gym is tough, but then eventually you can get to a point where you feel weird not going to the gym.
Yeah, like, because you start to see results, it changes your mindset completely.
Yeah, and it feels like a part of your day. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like for me, like I heard Mochi bring this up, and I related to him so much. He said, "I don't know if I have a lot of natural talent or not." You know, and I feel the same way. I saw that video. Yeah. Yeah, but he said like one thing that he does have is like, which may be considered a talent, is it doesn't feel like work for him, the grind, and that's how it feels for me. Like I want to be in training mode all day. I want to take notes. I want to, you know, I watch replays all the time. You know, I want a theory fight. Like that stuff is the most fascinating stuff in the world to me. I can't really stop thinking about it. So as far as the importance of it, I mean, it's huge. And, you know, I believe in the law. I don't want to say I believe in it because it makes it sound like more mystical. I'm heavy on the law of attraction. And a lot of people think of it and it just sounds like some damn, you know, the universe reciprocate. But it's not necessarily that as much as, you know, when you get a car and let's say you got a Prius, all of a sudden you notice all the other Prius on the street. But before you got that Prius, you didn't even notice those cars. That's the way the law of attraction works to me. Like this, like when you break it down to a science. All of a sudden, since I think about fighting games all day, every day, I literally do. Because of that, a regular occurrence in life that happens, I can learn something about Street Fighter from it. Like I was watching, this is more directly applicable. For example, I was watching John Jones fight recently, and his opponent literally got an injury, like his knee got messed up or something like that, right? But John Jones still was very, like, he kept his pace and he won like by decision. And it's because the dude was still throwing hard. But instead of listening to the crowd booing and things like that, he still took his time. But how many times do people lose in Street Fighter 5 because they have someone cornered and they're up 90% to 10%, but then that person back throws them into the corner and V-trigger activation and so on and so forth. But because I'm always just thinking about Street Fighter, it's the law of attraction. You know, the universe is giving me information to apply to my game. So for me, I would say it's very natural. I definitely would say I work. I know there's something called optimism bias. There's a book called The Art of Negative Thinking or whatever I would recommend looking at. But this is honestly not that when I say this. Like, I will say I definitely work a lot harder than most players, guaranteed. And it's not difficult for me to do 9 times out of 10. Like, it's just, I want to, you know.
Got it.
I'm very interested, you know, it's fascinating to me.
So you're interested in learning, basically.
Yeah, I love it.
At the end of the day. All right, let's get into, I want to get a little historical on you personally. I mean, first up, like, RobTV, right? Mm-hmm. What is that? Why is that your name?
Okay, so I didn't have a name. Like, I didn't have a tag.
Your name is your name actually Rob?
Yeah, my name is Rob.
Robert,
yeah.
Robert.
But everybody calls me Rob.
Everyone calls you Rob?
Yeah. But basically what happened is I knew I was going to do YouTube, right?
Yeah.
And originally my YouTube channel's name, right now my channel's name is RobTV. Mm-hmm. Originally it was called No Chart TV. Like, I was planning to be more of a, like, my first video, it's actually still up. A lot of people don't know about it, but it's like I was comparing Street Fighter 4 and 5. But it's more of a, it's heavily edited. My face isn't even in it. It's like I'm doing a voiceover. Mm-hmm. I was that type of content creator. Mm-hmm. But then I was like, you know what? I would rather just, I don't know what I'm going to put on this channel. So I need my channel name to not be so directly related to Street Fighter. It's or fighting games. It's just gonna be general. So whatever I put on here is cool. So I just said, fuck it, let's make it RobTV, which is super general. But what happened is, people started calling me RobTV. Like, my channel intro, whenever I ever thinks about, or like when I start kick off a video, I say, yo, what's going on, everyone? What is it? Yeah, like, what's going on, everyone? I am Rob B of RobTV, and this is da-da-da-da-da. I literally say Rob B. My last name is Bernie, starts with a B. This is Rob B of RobTV.
Yeah.
But naturally, like, I went to a tournament in Chicago and they just put my damn name down as RobTV because of that. And that's how that ended up going. So people just kind of gave me that name because of my channel. Okay. Yeah, so but I had no idea what I would even put down as a name if I went to, like, go into tournaments.
So what made you want to do YouTube?
So I actually did, man, I've always been like a performer. So like in high school, for example, and even like right after high school, I was actually popular for rapping.
Oh, you were?
Oh yeah, big time. Rapping, dancing. Like during that time, there's something called dance battles and stuff were actually like mad popular. Like,
so were you doing rap battles? Was the rapping you were doing rap out? Was that rap battle?
No, I like mixtape, stuff like that.
Okay.
And rap battles though. Like I actually have video footage of me rap battling and stuff like that.
Oh, you did?
It's not very, maybe not before today's 2019 climate, but I definitely did that. You know, I'm from, those areas. So, and yeah, rapping. I originally did YouTube really early on as a dancer. You know what I mean? Like, the old pop locking and all that stuff. And then, just last night I went to the after party to Defend North. I got it in the middle of the circle. Everybody's all impressed and shocked. Like, RobTV got a little bit of moves. Actually got a lot of moves. But yeah, so I just always been a performer, man. Like I always enjoyed, that sort of thing. So it was a natural thing to go into YouTube, man. I didn't know that I was gonna specifically do like me getting into fighting games, like trying to do it professionally. It was kind of like a natural progression. There was never really a moment where I was like, I'm gonna be a pro Street Fighter player. It just was like a natural progression.
All right, so let me get the order right. Was it all happening at the same time? So I guess a better question is, how did you get into fighting games?
So, okay, the reason I got into fighting games in the first place was because in 2009 or whatever, when Street Fighter 4 came out, my dad's only 15 years older than me. He had me mad young.
Yeah.
So me and my dad grew up playing video games together.
That's wild.
Yeah, right. So, we just competed all the time.
That must be strange. Sorry, this is always fascinating to me, right? Because, how old are you now?
26.
26. Okay, so he had you when he was 15, right? So there must have been a point where you were 15 and you went, my dad had me when I was this age.
Yeah.
And there must have been a time when you were like, now, like, so you're 26 now, right?
Yeah.
So if you had a kid, right, at the same age, that kid would be 11 years old, right? So you, at this moment, would be giving advice to a kid while you're still growing up. Because as far as I'm concerned, because I'm like much older than you, right?
Yeah.
To me, you're still a kid, right? So like to me, you're still growing up. I don't mean that in a disrespectful way.
I agree with you.
I'm like you're still learning things.
Yeah.
You know, like we all do as we go out through life. Just imagine, like, he has you when you're 15, and then you start talking, I don't know when kids start talking, 3 or something, right?
Yeah.
I have no idea. But you start talking when you're 3, and he's 18, and he's like great. He's a young guy learning, and he's teaching you stuff, but he has no idea. He has no idea what he's talking about.
Yeah, he's actually, my dad is one of my best friends in the world. Like, me and my dad talk all the time. I mean, like, it's an interesting situation where, I don't know, like that's one of the reasons he's one of my biggest inspirations. The older I get, the more it dawns on me like, wow, I'm not ready to have a kid right now. Seriously, I'm not interested. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I'm trying to figure my damn self, but yeah, that is a wild thing, but that's how I ended up getting into it. Like me and my dad, I mean, literally, I'll tell a story sometime, but just in general, we played the WWE games, like on PlayStation and stuff. It got the competition that's on like on my trash talking stuff. The competition is so heavy, he's so petty. Like we got a championship belt like from Walmart, and there's the house belt, and we really had title matches and stuff like that, like dead serious on the video game though. Yeah, like if a match for if you lose your character, like the wrestler you use, you go to the settings, you gotta turn their music off, so they gotta come out without their entrance music and stuff like that. You know what I mean? All the little psychological stuff like that. Yeah. But yeah, definitely shout out to my dad. So yeah, he's only 15 years older than me, and I grew up in a decent amount of people in the FGC. I grew up in a rough spot, inner city area. Of course, growing up, you don't realize how bad it is, But so coming from the area we come from, and at the age that he had me, it's definitely a credit to him that I turned out to be a pretty good guy. So. He's
you heard it here first.
Yeah.
RobTV is a good guy.
I am a good guy.
No, the reason I actually said that was not to dunk on you or anything like that. It was because my dad had me when he was 21. And I always think to myself, I used to think he was Superman growing up, right? And then I reached 21 and I was like, yo, this dude had no idea what he was doing. Like as I got older, I started to realize, I think it dawns on everyone, but like particularly if you have a young father, and my dad, 21, I think is pretty young still. Like nowadays, I think it's pretty young to a kid. 15 is certainly very young. And the idea that it dawns on you that when they were giving you advice about how to be a human being, they were growing up too. And sometimes you have to go back and you have to kind of retcon that stuff. You have to be like, that advice you gave me, that was garbage. That was garbage. Like, you didn't know what you were talking about, and I know you think differently now. You know, so it's very interesting. So basically, so you had a close relationship. You have a close relationship with your dad because you're so close in age, and because he loves video games, and somehow that moved into Street Fighter. I'm a junior and everything. Somehow that moved into Street Fighter 4.
Oh yeah. So, but during it, now of course we're doing jump, heavy, kick, and the sweep. That's the combos we're doing. You know what I mean? Like
those are the best combos I do.
Exactly. Oh, okay. Well,
I'm just kidding.
So I was born free
at
that time.
Kind of.
Yeah. But I wasn't into the fighting games like trying to like tournaments and stuff like that. Yeah. Like I was just playing it super casually at that time. Like I was playing a whole lot of other games too, and then. Like in college, I think that's when sometime during college when I met like Kaiser Master and stuff, and he told me more about the scene overall, and I learned how deep Street Fighter can get, and so it was me really getting into serious Street Fighter, like had to be, 2017? Yeah, 2017. My first major was final round 2017. So, yeah, I started traveling in that year.
When did you go to locals?
And then...
or did you go straight from online to majors?
Locals... 2017, maybe the end of 2016.
All right, so you went to majors and locals at the same time. You basically hit this. It sounds like you hit the ground running. Like it sounds like you went YouTube, freaking majors, freaking locals, this, that, the other. Like,
well, I was going to locals
because that wasn't that long ago. To me,
no,
2017 was 2 years ago.
No. It's been that's quick. It's definitely fast. I mean, I was going to locals, but basically, okay. Here's the thing. The first tournament I ever went to was, I think it was near the end of 2016. There's something called Cleveland Clash. And I drove I had to drive like 5 hours to get there. And I won the tournament. That was my first ever offline tournament. And I actually went undefeated. And they gave me like a certificate and stuff. So I already was playing the game like seriously. So it's like, at least what I thought was seriously in comparison to like a casual player. You know, well, like think about if I'm literally having theory fighting sessions with Kaizen and Street Fighter 4 and in training, online training mode with Raven and things of that nature. I was like an A+ rank or A rank Akuma in Street Fighter 4 to give some point of reference. My tag was Gokuma. Like I don't know if you guys ever heard of remember they did a player spotlights in Street Fighter 4? Olympic Gaming, I think the name was. I have a spotlight over there.
All right, remember that?
Yeah, but so I played. You know, but yeah, coming to Street Fighter 5, there was a point where I wasn't winning my. I mean, there's even Street Fighter videos on my channel where winning my local was like I was happy to get to that point to be able to beat my local, win my locals.
Of course, man.
But I just kind of very quickly went past that level. But then I didn't travel a lot in 2017. Last year was my first year. Like, I'm going to a lot, like having sponsors and stuff like that. And I actually consciously stopped traveling to tournaments after final round. I said I got to get better first. But somebody from my YouTube channel, like a fan of the channel, actually sent me to like SCR because he wanted me to go. And then after I beat Wolf Crow, I was like, maybe I can go to NEC. And I got second place at NEC. And then I'm like, I got second place at a major. I'm kind of good. And that's when I started traveling, more.
You kind of second to Punk? Was he there?
No, that was Burkish. It wasn't it wasn't CPT. Like the regionals, like KIT and stuff like that. It wasn't like a CPT.
It's like off season.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yep. So it was definitely a damn. It was a process, but I guess when I look back, it was quick too. Like it's been very fast.
Did it take you long to understand, or did it take you long to be able to focus in new environments? So like, the reason I asked this question is because like the first time I went to like NLBC, right? And like I'm obviously not a huge regular there because I don't consider myself to be somebody whose future lies in like being a competitive player. But I remember like the first few times I went there, I just felt like I couldn't focus. Like everything around me was like, it just didn't make sense to me. Like I'm getting better at that now. I guess what I'm asking you is the transition from online to offline. Was that an easy one? Did it feel easy for you, or did it take some time to get used to? And then there's another layer to that, which is like for you, is like then there's the first time you go on stream.
Yeah,
it keeps going up, right?
Well, it felt easy. It did feel easy, but at the same time, there's stuff that I learned over time where I'm like, okay, I didn't even realize that, like, I didn't notice at that time. I didn't notice this existed or that existed, Like, even something as simple as how deep knowing player tendencies go. Or...
Say that again?
Knowing how deep understanding player tendencies go.
Player tendencies.
Yeah, so like, like this guy specifically, like, James 746. He specifically likes to, when there's 10% health left, or he has to make a read for game. He's gonna, you know, so on and so forth.
Part of the read, basically, part of the download.
Yeah, exactly. And even like, you know, there's a lot of stuff. Like for me, I'm gonna always bring like mixed amps to tournaments from now on. Like I need to have headphones.
The headphones.
Yeah. Like if not, I can't help but hear. I've played in tournaments and major events, and I'm playing, but I can tell you the whole conversation. These guys complaining about, you know, how Karin and Balrog's V-trigger and, you know, all that garbage. Yeah. But I'm really focusing on my match, but I still hear everything that they're saying at the same time. You know what I mean? So I'd much rather have headphones so I can, you know, lock in. But I mean, dude, when I went to my first major, dude, like, I know like, you just brought up my first time on stream and stuff. Like I said, with doing the whole rap stuff and dancing and things like that, I've always been a big personality guy. Like I'm willing to talk, and you know, I'm not scared to be like the center of attention or something like that, right?
Yeah.
In a as non-asshole-ish way as possible.
No, you're not afraid to put your what's the saying? Your head out of the parapet. Like you know, like a lot of people that hide behind their on-screen name.
Yeah,
they have their anime avatar, all that sort of stuff, right? Like
exactly.
I'm the opposite, and you're the opposite. Like I sort of just want to. Here's my face. Here's who I am. Here's what I have to say. And you even more so, because you're willing to say things where you know, okay, this one's definitely gonna rock the boat. I don't know if you know or not, but you know, like I'll often like be wondering, I don't know, this one will probably rock the boat a bit too much. I don't know if I can be bothered with the
backlash.
With the backlash.
I've learned to do that more. I've learned to do that more.
Well, it's just a waste of energy sometimes.
It is. It's not even worth the tweets and all that. But so as far as the on-stream stuff, like, that stuff was mad easy for me, dude. Like, my first major at Final Round, like, for one, I thought I was the shit, skill-wise, okay? Mm-hmm. So I had a custom t-shirt made. And it said, "You're free." You guys can. I'll send you a picture.
It says you're free.
Oh, bro, I got a custom t-shirt made. It's red. It says "You're free" on the front, and then on the back it says RobTV with like a YouTube logo, and then it had like my CFN Karin Please on the fucking bottom, and then it said like fucking. It was like hashtag Karin Please too. Like, who the hell was tweeting about me for me to have a damn like hashtag or whatever? But that's the energy I came in with, you know. Like I was, you know, talking trash and all of that, you know. Like, but if anything, I'm not gonna lie. I feel like I think you're better off going into stuff with confidence, and then of course you become humble to some degree when you realize that, oh, there's levels to this, and you get stronger. But you definitely need to keep some type of ego about you, if that's, you know, however you are as a personality. Like, you know, some people, they praise the people who don't talk trash or who aren't confident. But to me, I understand it, but to me, at the same time, it's dumb. Like, you gotta understand people grew up differently. So, like, for example, I think me and Punk, I would say, I know for sure from talking to him, we're from similar areas, right? So, the way people typically grow up in our areas, we talk trash. Yeah. We're more open and loud and, you know, making jokes and stuff like that. So, if I try to all of a sudden be like my god Nephew, who's actually a very funny guy behind the scenes, but if I tried to be like Nephew, I would perform like trash. Yeah. Because that's not me. Yeah. You know? So I think embracing however you are is the best way to go about it. But yeah, so,
I would say.
Yeah, offline it was pretty easy transition for me, I'd say.
But there's also like mind games as well, which come with there's the trash talking, but there's just the confidence, right? When you talk about confidence, like it does affect people. It does, like, matches are won and lost before they even start. Nuckledu talked about this in one of my interviews, where he was saying that was something he tried to improve upon, which was he used to like train right up into the last minute, like, and be up all night and just be worried and whatever. And I can't remember exactly what he said, but it's in my last interview with Nuckledu. And he said, actually nowadays I tend to sort of like train and then like before the event just chill. Yeah. You know, because the mentality I want to take in is not one of stress. Mm-hmm. It's like, it's something different. It's a more relaxed. Nuckledu has an aura, right? Like he's created that aura. Everyone has their thing. How do you regard your current competition? So you're always going in with the mindset nowadays. You're always going in the mindset of, I'm gonna try to win this tournament, right? Presumably, I don't want to put words into your mouth, but presumably that happens one game at a time?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, like when I'm going up against someone, I do my best not to think about the path.
Which way you're going to get.
Yeah. I got caught up in that a little bit this weekend once, but where it's like, oh, I'm definitely going to beat this dude, so I'm going to, that's not a good mindset. But as far as the competition,
but did you feel
I think most people are whack.
You think most people are whack?
I think I'm talking about obviously there's some people who are casuals. I'm talking about even people who people might think are good. I see like they're whack. Like okay. Two people can look at the same tournament and see something completely differently, obviously.
Yeah.
Which is one of the cool things of fighting games.
Well, there's also like, was that intentional? Was that not intentional? Was that an option select? Like, I feel like that's the other thing in fighting games. Like, quite a lot of the time you hear someone call something as like godlike, and you're like, I don't know if that was godlike. And then other times, like you're like, wait, that was godlike.
Yeah, and there's some decisions that are made. There's a lot of decisions that are made in the Twitch chat or even the commentator, doesn't know because that's not their job.
Yeah. Yeah.
But so as I look at it, even if players may get like a certain result or whatever, right? This is like, I put it like this. Earlier on, when I was starting to go to tournaments, I would get beaten by mix-up characters, right? And I knew, because I'm up here trying to play footsies and the whole, but I knew that I was better than these guys. But of course, if I verbalize that, it sounds like I'm salty, right? Like, but you're losing though. But I knew I was working on the right things and that what you're doing is not actually gonna lead to good results. And then eventually I got to the point where those guys could never beat me again, ever to this day. Never will again.
Right.
But so even now, and it's the same thing, it just repeats itself over and over as you level up more and more. So competition-wise, of course, there's some players who are freaking godlike, right? But there's also a lot of players who, there's this tier, like the tier, the greatest players in the world are the punks and, Problem X's, so on and so forth, right? And then I think there's like a tier, obviously, under that where I would put myself, Terrence, nephew, Neon, I'm trying to think of whoever.
But you're the guys knocking on the door.
Exactly.
You're the guys who occasionally make top 8, but you're not like top 3 every week.
No one's looking at you but it's not shocking if you end up in top 8 or if you beat any specific player. It's not like
right.
But even within that same group, like within one tier, like let's say there's 50 people. That's just a random number. All of us may look to be the same skill level because we're getting the same placements. But there's actually vastly different skill levels, even if the placements don't reflect it yet. That's my opinion on it. And I'm sure this stuff I've talked to a lot of high level, like players about. I mean, even like I said, Punk and probably even talked about it on their WSO talk. So competition wise, I mean, I feel like there are some amazing players, but there's definitely a lot of people who I disagree with their approach and thought process towards the game. So, but that's the thing that's in this game though, versus like Street Fighter 4, that makes the game is simplified technically, but to me it's way more impressive to be consistent in this game because of the volatility. So if I get to a certain level of Street Fighter 4, I get this option selects, get this so on and so forth, it's no crazy V trigger. If you're not as strong as me, I'm going to wash you, period.
Yeah.
But now no matter what, you can pop this V trigger, and I have to be that much better than you to avoid that loss. You know what I mean? So, so I mean, the competition is stiff. There's a lot of people working hard, but I definitely don't think that all the people that everyone else thinks are strong are as strong as they are.
Yeah, I think I know what you're getting at. Like, if you learn a bunch of set plays and mix-ups and things like that, it becomes a bit of a one-player game, and also there's some guessing involved and things like that.
One patch away from being irrelevant.
Right. And but I do think if you are, what it sounds like the path that you're taking is one of like fundamentals. That sounds to me like the right path to take, regardless of the game. So like the next game, you'll still have fundamentals which will be important to apply to that game.
And it transfers to every character. Look at Nuckledu. He plays G is busted. Like, you know, that character's ridiculous. Man, he's crazy command grabs, V trigger. But Nuckledu first built the crazy ass skill he has. Now, I'm using this crazy ass, you know, character. And it's, you know, but I think people go to the crazy ass character and then can get certain results.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
And those results don't reflect. That's a big thing too when it comes to the depression and stuff. But going back to that, it's not gonna go down in the interview, but it's easy to get the wrong idea about how good you are.
But yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I beat this name player in this tournament. So but then you're gonna be depressed as hell when your whack ass goes to the next tournament and you get beat by somebody who's not close to as good as that guy that you beat. But it's because you're actually not that good. You know, that's like when I beat Combo Breaker. I beat Itabashi and John Takeuchi back to back. I got 13th at Combo Breaker, or 17th or 13th at Combo Breaker, and before I got 13th at Canada Cup. Which, you know, both of those tournaments had over 600 people, but I ain't, you know what I mean? It's a little, I ain't toot my own horn too much, Mark. But in those situations, Itabashi is still stronger than me. Like, Itabashi just got second place at Capcom Cup, right? If I had the wrong mindset, I would say he got second place at Capcom Cup. I beat him. And that's
so I'm obviously the best.
Foolish. Exactly. So, you know, there's definitely a right and wrong way to go about becoming strong. And definitely I'm confident with that. Like, you know, the best players are consistent. The whole point is consistency.
Okay, let's talk about the best players then. If you want to support me directly, the two best ways you can do it. You can subscribe to my Twitch channel, that's huge. Or you can become a patron, again, huge. Those two things, the links are below. On that note, I want to thank my current patrons. You can see them on screen now. I have $1 patrons. You guys are making a huge difference. There could potentially be thousands of you because there are thousands of people who follow me and watch the interviews, and that would really, really be something. I'll give a shout out to my biggest contributors, of course, Nathan Duncan, Terrence Harris, You Ain't Jeff, and Steven Sense. And Twitch subscribers, you get shout outs live on stream, as you know.